I'm so hesitant about making a video, a journaling video. I have put it off for, oh, a long time. When was the last time I did a journaling video, right? I receive comments every now and then, especially with me posting hours and hours and hours of PlayStation Grand Theft Auto 5. I'm always posting, like, I'm always streaming hours and hours on Twitch and posting it to my YouTube channel. And I've been doing that for a few years now. And every now and then I'll get comments from people who subscribe to me because of my journaling. They subscribe because of journaling. Something that, if we look, everything's dusty. But if we look at the shelf right there, that shelf has my paper journals on it, going back to when I was 11 years old, so a few decades. Yeah, I used to be writing in my journal sporadically. I've declared before that I am a sporadic journaler, sporadic paper journaler. Sporadic. If you say it really fast, it's sporadic. I also used to post online. Like, I used to write journal entries, type them online. Not whatever I post in my paper journal, but writing, free writing, with 750words.com or some other way of writing. And that's what I used to do. And so between online journaling and paper journaling, I could definitely call myself a journaler. These candies are from last Christmas. I'm taking a really long time finishing them. Okay. I'm just messy now. I don't like being this messy, but, So, how am I doing with journaling, with this dirty update? Which, again, I want to apologize for that, but I'm at the point that if I don't just make a journal video now, I may never. I get comments every now and then that are like, do you still journal? Are you ever going to post a journaling video? What is your journaling like these days? Nice, pleasant inquiries. Like, I subscribed to you when you were posting journaling videos. And I have to admit, the majority of my journaling, my subscribers, was back when I was journaling, making journaling videos. And the most views on my videos is definitely from journaling. I mean, I can't say that the audience has not told me what they want. They want journaling. They want to see journaling videos. They want to know if I'm journaling, etc., etc. And I've just ignored it. I've just, not out of meanness, but I've just playing the video game, grabbing onto that thing and just playing that for hours and hours and hours has been easier for me than delving into my inner world. So let me try to do this. I'm going to try. This is not going to be well done. It isn't for views and subscribers. It's just because people have asked and I want to answer. So, how's my writing going? Haven't been writing. How is my journaling going? Well, it's, sporadically, it looks like I've been busy, right? But actually, I'm not. This journal started on March 5th, 2022. So we're looking at a year soon. No, a year. It's been a year. This journal is over a year old. And this journal, so it was last year. And it started 1 month after my dad was found. Yeah, so this has been hard. And then also I heard from the doctor, and my doctor was retiring due to illness. So I lost my dad and my doctor. So how is my writing? How's my journaling? How's that going? Well, glad you asked. Not really. Not really glad. I have not been writing. I have not been able to write. I've done it now and then. Right? Rent is even higher now. That was 1 bedroom in what? Whenever this was. And it's higher now. It's ridiculous. Rent is crazy. Rent is insane. Rent is ridiculous. That view is amazing, but this is a 1 bedroom, and this one bedroom is over 1,800, but the apartment that empty next door, like right next door, that doesn't have a corner to it, like it doesn't have as in ours is a corner in a unit, that one next door is not. It's like over 2,300, going for over 2,300, and it's under 600 square feet. But I have written. It was a few days ago, the 14th, I wrote, and I did get a bunch of like vintage journaling paper stuff that I was starting to use, not in a good artsy way. I'm not really an artsy person, but in a, I'm not very good collager or whatever. But you don't have to be good at it. Just do what you want. Do what you want. Do what you want. You do what you want when you're doing your journal. That's the whole point, is you're expressing yourself. You're writing, you're doing it for yourself. And if you want to be somebody who's about the aesthetic, whatever you want, you do that. Like if you want to be someone like me who was like, I'm going to paste in autumn leaves on one of the few times I go outside, you do that. You do what you want. So what you see here is just me trying to write every now and then, and it's sort of working until it doesn't. I find it really difficult to write anymore because, and here's the thing I've tried to make a video about and I can't. Look at that. Like that journal needs to be filled. If you're somebody who's kept a paper journal for a long time, you know what it's like when you get a new journal, like you use a brand new journal. You also know what it's like when you're tired of your journal. And I'm tired of this one. The thing about writing in my journal now, okay, I'm just going to tell you guys really close about what it's like to journal now. When I started journaling in here, and when I was writing in the month after my dad died, all I could think about, not all, but one of the main things I thought about was how this is the first journal that I'm writing in since my dad died, without my dad being alive. Because when you lose a parent, whether you're close or not, but if you lose one you're close to, but if you lose a parent, there's this moment where you're like, especially if you've kept journals since the length of time I had, all those journals, every diary, journal, whatever, all those were while my dad was alive. And then everything I write after that, everything I'm writing now, moving forward, my dad has been dead. And I know that sounds like a weird thing to be fixed on or to think about, but that's what it is for me. My earliest journals, I'm writing about my dad. He was the most important person to me when I was that young. I started writing when I had been in grade 6. Was it grade 6? When Mr. Preble had us keep a diary. And writing in that, I had run away that year and I lived with my mother for that year. And because I was running away from my stepmother. And but I loved my dad. I didn't mean it to hurt my father. But that's what I did to try and get away from the abuse. And so I'm writing about my dad in my first journal. He was very important to me. He raised me for a few years on his own, and he was my dad. He was the dad. So this facing that, which it's not like it's new. Lots of people have lost people, parents, etc., important to them, and it's inevitable that it will happen. You will lose those you love. It's part of life. A part of life is you do lose people, and you experience loss and grief in all sorts of ways. But I do have to say that this was one of the most difficult things I've been going through or gone through. The most severe loss I think I will experience. Um, I mean, I even dreamed of one of these journals. It was in the dream, I mean, as in I was able to turn the pages. It was that journal there, that one there. That one is from when I moved to Wellington Park Towers from after leaving Glencoe, the factory town. And I dreamed of that journal. I knew exactly where I was by that journal appearing. And that journal was in a nightmare. I've had these nightmares of being in my dad's apartment, but it's not his apartment, but it was his apartment, you know? And the insides will change, but that journal appeared in it. I don't know. Have you guys who write, have you ever dreamed, if you have nightmares, if you have PTSD like I do, and you have consecutive nightmares or dreams, do you ever dream of your journals? And do they ever, like, are you telling yourself something with the appearance of certain journals? Like, do you think that it's your brain or something giving you a clue of something to look for, of maybe there's a message in there for yourself from yourself? Do you ever think of stuff like that? Because that's the first time it's occurring to me right now. Is probably I dreamed that because of the transitional point I was at in my life, as far as I left, I had a new beginning. I left one place and I was at a new place, and I don't know, it was a new chapter of my life. But yeah, so I'm having you guys stare at this mess. As you can see, my life is a bit messy here. I've got this corner because I don't have a book room. We are in a 1-bedroom apartment. So I did quite a bit over here, and then I just sort of ran out of room and steam, you know? I don't have enough room for all of my books. And then at the same time, I'm not reading all my books. And it's sort of like this, so I had to cut because of the Vincent trying to get in the cupboard. But this is journal number 46, and it is still being finished. I've got how many pages left? This many, quite a bit, 1 year on from starting it. So I haven't been writing much. I've been in a weird place. I mean, I was sporadically writing before this, so it's just worse now. And yet I know the importance of documenting your life and or having the tool of being able to have a place where you can express yourself and share thoughts and put down memories or anything you want to put in your journal, whether you're using it as a free write, just like dumping whatever's in your head in there, or whether you're keeping track of dreams and nightmares as somebody who has too many of them. Look at the dust on everything. Or whether you are doing it to creatively collage or draw or sketch or art, you know, do whatever art you want. Or you're writing detailed, beautiful things. Like over there, if you see, those shelves have journals and diaries published by people. I don't know where I'm going with my journals because I have been hiding in video game distraction for a couple of years now, and that's no way to go about living your life, right? So I have to make peace with all the existential despair I've been feeling, and I need to like take care of what I have and write down what I want to say and share about my life before I'm no longer around or of capacity to do anything like that. And that's sort of where my brain has been at, especially recently, is this whole like life isn't forever. Not that it's my first time figuring that out, but losing a parent, it really becomes clear to you that if they couldn't last forever, you're not going to either. Not that I'm a child who needs to learn that. I quite understand the whole death thing. It's just your mortality really hits when it's somebody you were so connected to. And when I was a kid, one of my biggest supporters of my writing, or cheering me on or encouraging me to write, was my dad. I mean, he even, on our old computer systems, we had like Atari computers. I would type journal entries on a floppy disk, have them saved to floppy, print them out on print the entries out on dot matrix. I mean, now nothing I make or create or write, there's nothing I can, I don't know. There's this like thinking about the things my dad didn't accomplish, that he could have, that he wanted to, or that he didn't. I've turned on the fan. I don't want to make this video. I really don't want to make it. I want to delete it. So I get it. I've journaled long enough to know that writing is better than not writing. But the reality is that I've found it easier to play a video game than to fill my pages with all my thoughts, with my words. I have missed this outlet. Like, I'm old enough to know that this outlet of writing and journaling my thoughts and whatever I want is healthier and better for me than just distracting myself with endless gameplay. I really love gaming. I love playing GTA 5 online. But nothing helped me or felt better than writing online journals and writing in my paper journal, writing for myself, writing thoughts, capturing parts of my life. And I don't need to be going outside and doing lots of things to have things to write about. I dream richly and have vast nightmares every night. I mean, I have endless content for my writing. Look at my eyes getting older and older. Look at me, I'm older. I'm older than I was because I haven't died, right? Here's the thing though. I'm like flopping my hair around. I don't know how to approach the page without a tremendous amount of grief and loss. And yet I know that I will approach the page eventually. I will type a journal entry and it'll be like 2,000 words. I know that I will return to writing because writing is as much a part of me as anything. But it's difficult. It's difficult to talk about journaling without ending up rambling about my dead dad. And it's tough for me to think about writing without thinking of the things that I would have written down. I would have written about the nightmare I had of my dad a week or so ago that nearly brought me to a standstill and just function. But what brought me out of that was the fact I remembered I had a vlog of my dad, and he was there so present in that vlog, and I was annoying in the video and all that, but to have something that showed my dad as he was and not as what my brain was trying to do with the memory of my dad I was grateful that I have documented my life. And part of the documenting my life has been this. And he's in some of the pages of my paper journal when I've written about certain moments. So moving forward and claiming my own narrative of my life and recognizing he was obviously, I mean, my parents are each 50% of my DNA. So how can I avoid facing my connection to them or the reality of how it works, like eventually I will either lose them or they'll lose me. It's part of the way life works. And I didn't even have like the stereotypical close relationships due to like everything that happened when I was young. So, I mean, I've been on my own for a long time, but there's various attachments and different feelings because of that, right? I should be writing. I should be discussing how my teeth look like my mom's. I should be discussing how it feels to know that my dad has a half brother out there that he never got to meet, that I found through ancestry. There is a biological half brother for my dad, a half uncle for me, and I don't know who they are, but they have the same father as my dad did, and I don't know who his dad is. I was able to narrow down the family because of the ancestor DNA, like the DNA being matched, but to know which son was the father of my dad is difficult without more people connecting. And the half uncle, he's not contacting me back. And I know I'm on a side tangent, but I'm like, all this stuff is in my brain about like connection to relatives, how you're made who you are, why you do the things you do, how you are, some of your personality is formed through the trauma that does divert you from being a copy of your parents. And I'm almost grateful for the changes that happened to me because of the stuff that happened when I was a kid. But at the same time, it makes me question, like, who would I be if that stuff hadn't happened? Would I be like my parents even more? The stuff I carry forward of me that I remember, like certain actions that I do, like certain movements with my hands or my characteristic stuff, like, okay, my teeth are like my mom's side, but for my dad, I have like these hand movements that happen where I'm like touching my hair or something in a certain way, and I'll remember that gesture being my dad's, and I'll be like, we got that from his family. Like, different things that you think are you, or maybe just your parents, end up being like carryovers from how many generations, how many genetic, how many things, and just how all of that is so, how we live with so many experiences and thoughts and memories and stuff that makes us who we are and our daily stuff, and then we end up facing that fate one day of just not existing anymore. And it makes you wonder about all the things we do in our daily life that make us who we are, but also are things that we attach ourselves to. For instance, journaling. I mean, I've been writing since I was a kid, right? And you'd think this is definitely a part of my identity. Well, am I playing the video game so much that it's now part of my identity? Am I playing that to like avoid my other aspect of myself? Like, we don't have to be one-dimensional and you're only allowed to be a journaler and you can't be a gamer, or you can only be a gamer and you can't be a thinker, writer, etc. No, like, we don't have to pigeonhole ourselves. But when we're trying to be who we are and or become better at who we are, what does the things we spend our time doing tell us about that? Like, if I spent more time writing and reading like I used to, would that make me become a better version of myself? If that's the inevitable thing, then why am I not doing it? Do I not want to be a better version of myself? And then also, how am I characterizing this being the better version of myself? What if I'm wrong about what makes me the best version of myself? What if exploring more about what I'm interested in does? And that's why I get why journaling is so important. But what if everything you're interested in is another way to hide yourself and you're not really facing yourself? Do you know what I mean at all? Like, I'm trying to figure out, is this just like an elaborate excuse for me to say, I haven't been writing, sorry, I just want to play video games because life is difficult and I'm distracting myself, even though there's drama in video games, and when you play with other people, there's inevitable personality clashings with people and or thoughts about life, or just how people act out and treat each other, a mirror of our behaviors in if we were in person. I mean, I don't know. I think I'm curious about it all, though. I mean, I spent so many hours playing a video game when, if this was when I was younger, I would have been spending all those hours writing wall-to-wall scrawls in my journals, or writing postcards to people, writing letters, exploring my thoughts, or being in love. I mean, I miss that feeling. I miss being in love and being passionate about somebody, and just like trusting that I knew what I was doing, even if I didn't, that I could go with the feelings and explore that part of myself without feeling like it was something I'm not allowed to do anymore, or something that is gone from me forever. I know I'm trying to talk about too many things at once, but there's this part of me that wrote in journals a lot, and that would write down dreams, and that would think too much about things that probably people shouldn't dwell on, is still here. This is part of me. So if you're not seeing any videos about this, it doesn't mean I've ran away from it. If anything, I think about writing every day, not just in journaling, but I think about writing poetry. I think about what would have happened if I kept writing poetry and gotten better at it. What would have happened if I'd let myself explore storytelling or writing plays like I used to want to do. But the reality of my life is that I spend a lot of time avoiding self-exploration while continuing to think about it. I think about it every day. I'm not making that up. I think about it every day. I'll be on the toilet and think about writing. I can't help it. When I wake up, I'm getting out of a nightmare dream, and the first things I'm doing is thinking about it in story form, or thinking I should write this down, or maybe I will write it down, or if I wrote it down, I'd probably be thinking about this or that, I don't know what to say about my relationship with journaling, except that it's still prevalent. I still look at my journals, which are right there on that dusty bookshelf, on that bookcase. I think about how if I'd kept writing, I probably would have filled up that bookcase by now. I think about what will happen when I'm gone, like what was all this about? And then I think sometimes when I'm thinking about worrying about that and the care of things later, or the things I have to do still that I'm avoiding, I think about that very real truth that what you do each day is a part of who you make yourself to be. And that's kind of depressing if you got to work all the time. I mean, now how many jobs do people have to function to survive? It's ridiculous. It's scary. There's a lot of scary things happening right now, and one of the best things one could do is make time for yourself to do something you love that is part of who you remember yourself or want yourself to be. So yes, I could lose myself in video games every day and get better at it and enjoy it and whatever. I'm not going to judge myself for that choice, whether it's out of survival or out of what if I really do just love video games now, like I used to when I was younger. That could just be it. That could be it. But it's not like I get away from being myself or thinking, or my brain thinking all the time, or of feeling or wanting or desire, or thinking about existential crisis that I go through all the time, or thinking about managing anxiety without any help. Like I've had medication for how long, and now I'm not going to have medication soon. And yeah, I've got some CBD oil and stuff, but I don't know what dosage to take. I don't know how to do it. I don't know whether it's worth it, to have drops, or whether I just go with what I'm entering into, which is no safe cushion, nothing to help me except facing it all and hoping that I'm strong, or that I'm not gonna be stupid. I don't know. Like it's a scary time. I'm not 20 something and able to make as many mistakes or be as able to bounce back from things. I know I'm not really old, but I'm older than I was, right? And it's not cute to be my age and be anxiety ridden with nightmares and with all those emo feelings. It's not cute, right? Nobody finds it attractive to have existential crisis at my age. It's just people wonder why you don't just have it all figured out or all that stuff. And meanwhile, we're going through like ridiculous things in the world right now, right? Where the climate, the pandemic that nobody wants to talk about, everything that's happened, political stuff, the rise of white nationalism. I mean, who would have thought that it would not be, who would have thought that it would be a divisive opinion to say Nazism is bad or to say we shouldn't be doing all this stuff that takes away people's, no, like, what are we doing? I don't know. We lost the women's, like, in the States, they lost women's rights for, I mean, I don't know. As somebody who had like difficulties with my own physical health as a woman, I can't. I think everything's getting scarier. And is this so crazy that I would get to an age where I'm like, it's scary these days? What's the world turning into? But it was always scary. I mean, if I look at my journals, life was always a bit scary. I mean, it's not like things haven't always happened. So I don't know. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. That's where I'm at. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, last year, I had to empty an apartment of what was left of my dad's life. And I don't understand. Like, I understand from a mental point, like an intelligence perspective, from the, I get it. Like, I've just like moved the chair on the floor, which I should have pads under the chair because wood on wood is bad. But anyway, I don't get it how you can live your life and then you're gone. And I know this is how it works, but everything that's ever important to you is suddenly somebody else's problem. And they have to make choices about what mattered to you and what didn't, and what if you don't make a will. Like, I don't know how to say to people, I'm not writing because I'm overwhelmed at the thought that everything I've put time into in the end only matters to me. Because if I'm not somebody that becomes famous or whatever for my writing, if I never achieve anything in the eyes of what society perceives, then my life is just like many other people's. It's happened and then it's done. And all the things I put time into either tell for themselves or they don't. And as somebody who doesn't have children, as a woman, I am considered not to really have any impact unless I've become successful in some way. And if I haven't, well then it's only the lives of those I've loved or known that is supported or touched. So then what? I'm really at a point where I'm like, what do I do anything for? What do I do? Like, I'm overwhelmed at the thought of what I do with what I have, and then I'm overwhelmed at the thought of what if I don't do anything with what I have, and I'm overwhelmed, guys. I'm overwhelmed. I'm just at this point where I'm like, what do I do? And I realize I'm just having another anxiety episode here, like a small one. This one isn't bad, actually. I've had one that's far worse. But facing yourself is one of the hardest things. And then accepting yourself. I mean, I'm sure many of us went through therapy where we learned about radical acceptance and everything. They never really taught us that would have to be a continuous thing if we wanted to stay in that mindset, because honestly, you're going to forget. It's just like after somebody dies, you're in this weird realm world where you're between two worlds, like you're going with them in some way, but you're not going with them. But do you know what I mean? Where you feel like you could be otherworldly, because nothing seems real when they're gone all of a sudden. It just seems very bizarre. And you stay in that state for, I don't know, a bit. Like, is it shock? I don't know. But you stay in that state for a little while, and then all of a sudden one day, you don't even realize it, but you're back to normal, where you're not seeing the bigger picture, where you're not feeling the things as intensely. It's like a protective mechanism to make sure you go back to coping with your daily existence in life, so that you don't really think about how small we are, right? How, I don't know. I'm sorry to be like this, but this is where I'm at. Writing is hard, but it's not. As soon as I put the pen to paper, I have a lot to say. I have a lot to share. I don't even get there. I don't even go all the way there because I'm like, ooh, I've written a page or two. That's enough. Like, it's still a comfort to me when I write, as in, I feel like this is where I belong. Like, I know the page. I know how to express myself. I know that it's a good spot for me to do thinking and thoughts and make yourself a safe space. You know what I mean? But I am so reluctant. I want to distract myself with the things that we distract ourselves with. YouTube videos, I could watch endlessly. Like, I watch drama on YouTube, some stuff about, the weirdest stuff. I can watch things, and I can play video games, but I am having a hard time facing what if I don't accomplish anything? What if I can't find the meaning in everything I've lived through? What if I have to face the fact that there is no meaning to anything that I've lived through? It's just a part of being alive, and that's just part of it, is that you live through your days and you do whatever you do, and it is what it is. I don't know. Like, this stuff is stuff I probably thought about lots in my 20s, but I didn't think about it with the view, the perspective of somebody who made it to this age, lost a parent that died at age 68, and that's older than a lot of people have lost their parents, far younger. So I don't know what to say. It's my own experience, and I am struggling with it. I'm struggling with my my anxiety with that hangnail that I have right now, and I'm struggling with my purpose. I'm struggling with my lack of I guess I wanted to be stronger by now in my sense of self. I mean, I've known who I am all along, but I wanted to be stronger or more confident in who I am and be more disciplined in my interests by now, and I'm not. I am flailing about, and that's where I'm at. So my journaling is there. I write less than when I was younger. I probably am less intelligent than when I was younger. I'm wiser from some experiences, but I haven't been able to really apply much in my life because of the sheltered life the way I cocoon myself out of self-preservation. I don't know, but it's what I'm doing, and that's where I'm at. So writing is a thing still. Journaling is a thing still. This is journal number 46. But I don't have anything I can really tell people except, what are you doing with that one wild life, right? Isn't that some sort of saying? What will you do with the one wild? Something like that. I've adapted that quote to myself. Been like, I sometimes ask that, like, what are you doing with this one wild life or whatever? What are you doing? I gotta look that quote. Oh, I can't. My phone is recording this. I want to grab my phone and Google it. But you're the phone. So, yeah. I mean, what are you gonna do with this one precious life, right? Are you gonna... There's nothing wrong with what... By the way, I just want to say to myself or to anyone, whatever you're doing, I mean, as long as you're not hurting anybody, whatever is helping you get through, whether it's video games or movies or bad YouTube videos or maybe you are writing and making art or whatever you're doing, it's what you're doing right now, and it can change. You can change it, or you can dive into it. You do what you want with it, but you are making choices each day about what you want to do, and if it's going in a different direction than you'd like it to. Like if you're like me, spending hours, like 24 hours of a 24-hour day on a video game, you're not going to get the writing done. You're not going to get the other things done. And that's fine every few days, but if it's every single day, you're going to realize that you are running out of the time to do the things you want to do. So I guess like try to prioritize what you really want to do, and don't be afraid to face yourself in that. If you're like, well, I'm not doing the thing I really want to do, I'm distracting myself, just accept that as an awareness and then carry on. Like, why are you doing it? You could delve into those thoughts in your journal perhaps and go, well, why am I avoiding doing something I'd love to do and doing something else? And you could think about it. You could write it down, or you could just sort of watch yourself, observe yourself and be like, that's interesting that I'm at this stage right now. Am I doing this out of survival? Am I doing this to avoid my grief? Am I doing this because I'm just tired, or I don't want to like face reality of my life? Or am I doing this because that's what I really am passionate about now? Maybe I've shifted, maybe I've changed. Observe that about yourself, accept it, and then go about your day, because life is too short to be judging yourself so harshly that you continuously avoid facing it. Do you know what I mean? Okay, goodbye. I'm sorry that I'm so annoying. See, I'm apologizing too much. I'm kind of hoping that stops soon, like that. Like I noticed I apologize more when I'm anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna let this go. But I said hello, and now I'm gonna go. How's your writing going? If you were one of the people who commented about journaling, tell me how your writing is going. Are you journaling still? How are you doing on your journey? On your journaling journey? I'm curious, because I can't be the only one going, ah. All right.